Dun, dun, dun. Should I get closer? What is up, y'all? No, I don't like that. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to my channel. If you are watching this and you are new here, you can go ahead and go back to my very first video if you want to basically get a better understanding of who I am, how I got to where I am today, and just kind of my journey. So today I'm just going to strictly be discussing just things people don't think about when they're getting into competing. Competing has really become a fad now and something in the fitness industry that if you work out, you should aim towards competing. And I think a lot of people underestimate it, especially in the bikini division, because it's very glamorized on social media as just getting lean, not having to have a lot of muscle mass, and getting on stage. And really the on stage portion of it is such a small part of the journey, and that's the part that's kind of glamorized on Instagram. So I just want to talk about basically things you need to think about before you decide to take that next step, and if you're ready and if competing could be for you. So let's kind of just dive right in. I'm going to try to make this short and sweet, but yeah. So I decided to get into competing because I have been an athlete my entire life, and whenever I quit volleyball, I wanted something to basically work towards. Now, when I first started training, I was a freshman in high school, and I started weightlifting immediately. I didn't go into the cardio phase. It was just strictly right off the bat lifting weights. So for me, starting from a very young age in weight training from then till I started competing in early 2020, that was about 9 years of just straight weightlifting, like consistent weightlifting and eating. So I didn't track macros or anything, but I've never been someone to undereat. I've never been someone to want to be skinnier. I actually tried to gain weight and try to get to 160 basically my entire life up until I started competing. So those two things together, the consistent eating and the weight training, have gotten me to where I am now muscle development wise. And so that is why when I did decide to compete, I just needed to lose the body fat and the muscle mass was already there. I didn't have much more to do because I had been consistently weight training for 9 years. Now, genetics play a huge role in this. Genetics play a huge role in bodybuilding in general. One, just the structure of your body. You can't change your bone structure. So some people have a phenomenal physique for bodybuilding and just have very proportional shape to them. They hold their fat in the right places. Some people have to work a little extra harder to basically conform and get their body molded into whatever division they want to fit in. Now, there are also steroids that come into play that can change not your genetics, but they can make up for lack of genetics. And we can talk about those a little bit later. But basically, I have such a passion for working out. I have always loved to work out. So for me, I wanted to take my physique to the next level. I was already consistently training. I was already eating. I wasn't a beginner. I wanted to go to that next level, and that next level of fitness for me was competing. And since I didn't have volleyball, it kind of gave me a goal to work towards within my passion. Now, I think the big misconception people make is, like I said before, they get into their fitness journey and been working out for maybe a year or two and they love it and they're passionate about it, which is great. But the next step for them always seems to be competing. And that should be kind of a last final step. So when you're deciding, okay, I love working out, I love to train, I want to compete one day, what should you do beforehand to get you ready to be at that point? Because losing weight that's not the only thing that comes into play when you're wanting to compete. When you're talking about getting stage lean, that is a whole different level of lean. And some people genetically are going to have to absolutely kill themselves to get to that point. And some people genetically are going to have it a lot easier and their body's going to be more susceptible to the weight loss. So that's why I say genetics plays such a big part in it, and meaning how much time it's going to take, when you could be ready. If you are a beginner and you do want to compete and you're just genetically inclined for it, then it might happen, but it's really such a person by person case. But let's say we have someone brand new to lifting, they're just getting into it, they're young, and they want to compete one day. How do we know when they're ready and when should they start? The first thing you're going to want to look at is your nutrition and your training. Now, prep is no joke. There is no cheat meals. There is no balance. There is no, oh, I was tired, I'm going to skip out on this today, or I'm going to half-ass this workout. That's not a thing on prep. And so I don't think people really understand you can't just go from intuitively eating and lifting and you love it so much to, okay, I'm going to hop on a prep and have this super strict regimen. I might be up to 2 hours of cardio a day. I might be down to 0 carb, because that's going to completely destroy your relationship with food. We want to build everything up and have you in a great place with food, training, just your physique, your muscle mass, your body fat percentage, your metabolism, before we go into that prep, to make that prep as smooth as possible. So when we have someone first starting out, one, we need to assess their muscle mass. Are they already pretty muscular for where they're at? Some people develop muscle very, very quickly. Some people are naturally lean. Like I said, it really just comes down to genetics. So seeing where they're at, seeing what their body structure looks like, seeing how proportional they are, places they need to grow. After that, looking at their nutrition. Is their nutrition on point? Are they getting all their protein in every day? Do they know how to track macros? Are they following a meal plan? Have they been yo-yo dieting all their life? Are their calories nice and high? Are they intuitively eating? Just all of those things you need to assess. And then also looking at blood work, looking at health markers, because when you're going down to such a low body fat percentage, your hormones are going to get out of whack. So if everything is not perfect before the prep, it's just going to be a shit show in the end. So when I have a new client come to me and they want to compete, the first thing I like to do is cut them down to roughly 15% body fat. It really just depends on the person, but I want to see their muscle mass. I want to strip down their body fat and I want to see how much muscle mass they have on them and see where we need to grow. Now, if we strip them down and they have the muscle mass and their relationship with food is great, they have stayed on their diet the entire cut, their training is up to par, and they're checking all the boxes and they want to compete, then okay, that might be something we can look into. But if they're not even able to stay on the cut 24/7, if their relationship with food is dying down, if we're so low in calories and their body's not responding, if we just don't have enough muscle mass on them once we get to that point, then that's a time we're going to need to reverse calories and get them to a good place muscle mass wise, calorie wise, just mentally, and then reassess. So bodybuilding is such a slow sport and something you have to be so patient with. And in the beginning, you are going to make a lot of newbie gains. And the biggest misconception people have is they make these gains and they have body fat on them and they're like, okay, I'm ready. I look full. I look like I'm filled out. I'm relatively lean. But don't understand that when you strip down to that bare minimum body fat percentage, all you are left with is muscle mass, like literally all you are left with. And even for me, when I get on the pro stage next year, I'm going to be going against girls who have so much muscle maturity on me, and there's nothing I can do about that right now. I need time. Like, that's all I need is time. Time and consistency. I've been doing the same thing for the past 9 years, lifting and lifting and lifting and lifting, but muscle maturity only comes over time. So for the next 5 to 10 years, that's what I'm going to have to do, is just keep lifting and lifting and lifting and lifting. And it's a very repetitive thing. And I know competing gets exciting because you want to know a short-term goal and you want a vision of, okay, I only have to push a few more months of this bulk, then I get to cut, then I get to do a show. And it's very hard to sit there and tell someone, I need you to bulk for 3 more years. When you're 18 years old and you want to compete, but you have no muscle mass on you, I need you to bulk for 3 years. You know how hard it is for someone to take a step back and be motivated and excited for 3 years? And the issue with that is the motivation part. I do this because I love to lift. I could never compete again and I would still go train just as hard, probably harder, because I wouldn't have to restrict for bikini. And that's why I've been so successful in it, because I genuinely love to train. The nutrition is just kind of the manipulation of my body composition, but the training is what I love. So if you can fall in love with the journey and just enjoy the process, you're going to be so much better off. You also have to consider the fact that every time you cut and want to do a show, that is progress lost that you could be gaining muscle. So if I wanted to do my pro debut last year or this year even, I would have taken 6 months, 6 to 7 months to be dieting down where I'm not growing. I'm going to step on stage and I know they're just going to tell me to grow. So to me, what is the point in doing that? It'll be 2 years since I've been on stage when I make my pro debut. And that's because I want to win. Like, I don't want to go on stage just to go on stage. I want to go on stage and blow people's minds. And it takes, especially being an advanced lifter, it takes so long to put on muscle mass. Like, I'm talking maybe 2 to 5 pounds of muscle mass a year if everything is on point. Now, maybe with gear, that's a little bit different, but I have not put on, since I think last November, I've put on maybe 3 pounds of lean mass, 2 to 3 pounds, which is not a lot for pushing my calories to the point that I did and training to the intensity that I did. It takes time. So that's just another thing, is don't rush the process. There's no need to rush it. If you are 17, 18, 19, 20 years old and you have the genetics to compete at that age and be successful, then by all means go for it. If that's what you want to do and that's what you're passionate about, do it. But if you're someone who is just starting out their journey, or maybe has a lot of weight to lose or a lot of muscle to develop, don't make competing your first step. Make it killing your training, killing your nutrition, getting yourself to a good place mentally with food, and then you can look at competing. Because I have people who are, tracking macros, but they're incorporating a whole bunch of processed foods in there. Their meal timing isn't right. They're training, but they're only checking off the boxes when it comes to sets and reps. They're not like actually training with intent. And all because they have this vision of competing and stepping on stage. So they're just checking the boxes, but that's not how this works. I was lifting for 9 years and I didn't know why I was doing what I was doing. I was doing it because I loved it. And it just so happens I was building the muscle to turn into a pro one day, but I didn't even know it. And that's because I love the journey, and you've got to love the journey. I can't stress that enough. So that's just something I would consider. Now, you also, like I said, need to consider your relationship with food. If you have a history of dieting and you have a history of being afraid to eat, or not eating enough, or maybe yo-yo dieting, gaining a lot of weight, then losing, just any sort of bad relationship with food, that's going to need to be the first thing that has to be fixed. If we are starting a prep from a high body fat percentage and a low calorie count, one, we've got to lose the body fat, so we're going to have to drop calories even more, but they're already low, so how much more can we really drop? And two, your body's just going to stop responding. We can't start a prep and get down to 10% body fat when we're starting at 20, 25% body fat. We've got to get our body prepped to a lower body fat percentage with a high amount of calories, and then we can start. Because if we're starting at, 17% and our calories are up to 2,500, we have so much room to drop in food, and we can add cardio to that, and we're already lean, so we don't even have that far to go. So the amount of muscle mass that will be lost is going to be so much more minimal because our diet is going to be so much shorter. So that's something to consider too. And I really just think the hardest part about all of this is people not understanding that bodybuilding is a year-round sport. It's not, the prep is the easy part. The prep is where you take all your hard work and you just shed the fat, you diet down, and you get on stage. The off season, the growth phase, the putting on the body fat, the maintaining a good physique throughout that time period, being consistent with training, that's the hard part, and that's what makes the best bodybuilders, are the people that can go in and grind every single day, and maybe the goal is 2 years out, but they don't even care. They're gonna go in and get their shit done every single day because they know it adds up, and they know when they do get to that prep, it's gonna be such an easy process because they've done all the hard stuff behind the scenes, the stuff that's not glorified on Instagram, the stuff that really makes you the stuff that makes you know if you truly love this or not. Because it's easy to prep, it's easy to see yourself get lean and take pictures and be on social media and get all the hype and get excited for stage in a few months. But it is hard to be 30 pounds up from stage weight knowing you're a year out and still be consistent with it. That's how you know you love it. And that's the point you need to get to before you ever consider a prep. And I do think it's good to step on stage and see where you're at, see where you lie. You can't just build forever and never get on because you just feel like you're not ready. At some point, yes, you have to get on stage. But don't rush the process, and don't make your first question be, when can I step on stage? If that's the end goal, great. But you've got to do all the hard stuff before you get to that point and prep your body for a prep. You also don't want to go to your coach right before you're about to prep. I will have some girls come to me and say, I want to do a show next year. And they have just started lifting. They're not tracking macros at that point. Their body fat percentage is fairly high. They don't have a ton of muscle mass, but they want to do a show next year. And to me, I get it. I get it's exciting. I get there's the hype, but do you want to go on stage just to check off a box, or do you want to be competitive? Because in reality, like I said, it does come back to genetics, but a lot of people need years and years before they can get to that point. And like I said, muscle maturity is a big part of it. And when you're 18, 19, 20 years old, it doesn't matter how hard you lift. If your muscle maturity isn't there, you need time. You just need to take the time. And I know it can be frustrating, but like I said, this is all about patience. It's about going on stage, getting your feedback, and going to grow again. And the more time you spend prepping when you're not ready, the more time you're wasting and basically prolonging the process to get to your end goal. Now, I will say steroids have become a big topic, and I get asked this question a lot ever since I came out that I started taking an enhancement. And I'm a great example of someone who turned pro naturally because I have great genetics for it. I can get lean very easily. My body is very, very susceptible to weight loss and fat loss. I just have good genetics for this sport. And so I was able to do that naturally. Now, a lot of people, that's not the case, and enhancements are going to be a huge part of their journey if they are wanting to take their physique to the next level. Now, I used to be someone who was very scared of enhancements, and I always said I never want to take one. I just want to do this naturally, see how far I can go. But the more I learned about it, and the more I learned about how they can actually benefit your longevity in bodybuilding, the more open I was to it. And it's not like when we think steroids, we think of like needles and shots and getting huge and having a deep voice and, you know, losing our boobs and all this kind of stuff. There's so many different types of enhancements you can take for different things at different dosages. There are orals, and you just really need to figure out, ask your coach what is best for you and the healthiest route you want to take. Some people do it the unhealthy way, and that's fine. They're probably going to get there quicker, but like I said, taking a lot more risk. You can also go a healthier route. Enhancements in general are not necessarily healthy, but there is a way around it to basically make sure you're keeping up with your blood work, you're keeping up, you know, you're making sure you're taking the right dosage, your training and nutrition is on point before adding in those enhancements. That way you're getting the most benefits out of them. And that's another thing. Before looking at enhancements, I used to say I think you need to reach your genetic potential. I take that back. I don't think you need to do that. But I do think your training and nutrition need to be on point every fucking day before you add an enhancement. Because if you're not meeting your protein level, and if you're kind of just intuitively eating, or you're training, you know, maybe every other day, but you want to get on an enhancement, like, what is the point in putting that drug in your body when you could just up your nutrition and fix your training, and it would probably do the same thing? You know, drugs are for when you reach that point where you're like, okay, I'm doing every single thing I need to do. I'm checking all the boxes to the max. I want a little bit more additional help to bring me to that next level a little bit quicker. That's when we add in the enhancements. And that can have a huge role in everything as well. Bikini, like I said, depending if you're wanting to go into a natural league or a enhanced league, then, or not enhanced, but non-tested league, which is the NPC IFBB, then that's going to determine which route you want to go. But obviously in the NPC IFBB, you've seen bikini is really the only division for males and females that there are successful natural pros. Now, I don't know every single person's history or background, or there could be some pros out there that are natural that I just don't know about. It very well could be. There are some genetic freaks out there. But for 99.9% of us, there are going to be drugs involved in some way, shape, or form once you get to that higher level of bikini, or, you know, past that, especially for wellness and physique and figure. So that's just something else to consider in your journey, how far you're wanting to take this. And honestly, just talk to a coach. You need to find someone that you can rely on. If you don't feel like you have anyone you can turn to, you can ask me. I can give you some great recommendations. If you want more knowledge on just steroids in general, J3 University has a podcast, and they talk about that a lot. They also have a course. It's J3 University course by John Jewett, and you can pay for that and basically go through, and he will walk you through the steroids and the processes behind them and the hormones and nutrition and training and the whole shebang, so you can get a good understanding of that as well. But just to wrap this up, I really want y'all to go back and watch my first video if you have not, because I talk about how competing affects my relationship with food. And I would say that's one of the biggest factors in all of this is bodybuilding can absolutely destroy your mental relationship with yourself, your body, and food. Absolutely 100%, because once you get to that point of being stage lean, you have a new perception of what fit is. Like, fit is no longer 15% body fat. At that point, you feel fat. Once you see yourself at 10%, 8%, that is your new fit. And anything above that, you are fat to yourself. And that is so unhealthy, especially if you're looking at bodybuilding to be your identity. That is the wrong way to go about it, because if you lose that, if you break a leg one day, if you can't diet, if something happens and you don't have that, but that was your identity, you're just going to be lost. So you need to be happy with yourself. You need to understand food is fuel. You need to understand what exactly you're getting into before making that next step. Because once you do it, it's very hard to undo. And that's what I did. I had an amazing relationship with food, ate what I want when I wanted. I had a great balance, 80-20. And once I started competing, that relationship just absolutely tanked, and I still struggle with it to this day. I've gotten better as the more knowledge I've learned about this sport and just about nutrition and how our body actually functions, the easier it's become, because I can look at food and know what it's going to do to my body and how much I need just by, seeing it. But if you don't have that knowledge, then you will let it consume you, and you will start to see food as good and bad, or if I eat that, it's going to make me fat, or whatever it may be. You just start to obsess over it, and that is very hard to overcome. I've spent the past year and a half trying to overcome that, and I've gotten so much better, but it's still a daily battle, even to this day. So that's something that I really want to prevent for a lot of competitors in the future. And at the end of the day, when you want to take that next step, there's no way around it. You're going to have to track macros or follow a meal plan. You might end up on 2 hours of cardio and 0 carb a day. It's just the reality of the sport. So you need to decide, can I do that mentally? Am I in a good place in my life with myself, with my family, with my friends, financially, to take that next step? That's another thing. You need to make sure you have a good support system around you. You need to make sure the stress in your life is low. You need to make sure, worst case scenario, do I have time to do an hour of fasted cardio, an hour of training, an hour of post cardio, make all of my meals, make sure I'm hitting all my meals on time, get 8 to 10 hours of sleep a night, and do my daily life? Because if you can't do all that, it's not the right time for you. And not to say you can't do it in the future. I've seen full-time nurses do this who are single moms with kids. I mean, it's possible. If you want it bad enough, you will make it happen. But like I said, competing should not be your first option when you're deciding you want to start your fitness journey. And I know that's hard because you don't necessarily have like a goal in mind, and that's why I think people get so drawn to competing, is there's an end goal. You get to step on stage and show off your physique, but it's also going to be a very long journey and a very mentally draining journey if you do not prepare yourself prior to getting on stage. And that's why my prep was so easy, because I was already in a great place. My food was high, my body fat was low, my muscle mass was there. All we had to do was cut down some calories, and I was ready to get on stage. I was ready probably 4 weeks out, or 4 weeks early. Okay, I'm gonna wrap this up because I'm just going on a tangent now. If you do want to follow a great competitor and someone who is going to show you what prep really takes, go follow Kinsey Vance. You probably already do. I'll put all of her tags right here, but go check her out, because she is someone who has to actually kill herself to basically get through prep and get to a lean body fat percentage, and she can show you her journey from being slightly overweight to now being probably 10% body fat at this point. So that's just someone great to follow to really get an understanding of what happens when you take the time and you do the work and put your head down and grind. So I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I hope it helped. I know I was kind of all over the place, but if you do have any other questions, you can leave them in the comments. You can shoot me a DM. Go back and watch my previous videos. Like I said, the first one is about my journey and how I got to where I am now and my relationship with food. There's also one about my SIBO diet. I know I have not posted an update recently and I really need to do that, but I am on week 7 now. Yay. So I'll do another update for y'all on that, but I do have a video explaining what I'm doing right now to heal my gut and my SIBO, which is small intestinal bacteria overgrowth. So if you want to go check that out, you definitely can. Leave what you want to see in the comments. I know I'm not consistent on YouTube, so I'm not even going to say I'm coming out with another video soon. But thank y'all for watching. I hope this helped. And if you do want to compete in the future, I am cheering you on. I do have one-on-one coaching applications in my bio or on my website. I can go ahead and put my link down in the captions if you do want to apply, or if you just want to talk about it and see kind of what a timeline would be for you in your journey. I can definitely do that as well, or I can push you in another direction if you just need some guidance and some other resources. So yeah, I hope y'all have a great rest of your week. If you're watching this, if you're doing cardio, don't stop. Put your head down and finish this shit. I'm sorry, I'll make a longer video next time. But yeah, I hope y'all have a fantastic week, and we will see you next time.